Hey there!
I'm Sunny.
I'm Skylar.
And together,
We're Crushcast, aka the Vixens of Crush Publications.
Join us today for another fun time with Crush.
Hey there, best-selling authors Sunny A. Morgan and Skylar Quinn coming together to discuss the joys of erotica in literature.
And today's topic is a special guest, Eli Casablanca. He is going to be here talking about his new book that he has coming out. And we're going to discuss his previous book, too.
Yay! Eli, welcome.
Hi.
Hey.
Ta-da! There you go.
Hey.
That was only minimally awkward of me. So
You're fine.
That's a win.
Well, thanks for being our first guest on our podcast. Quite the honor.
Thrilled.
Yes. We are excited.
We go back a ways, the three of us. So
We do.
Very exciting for me.
You coined us the Vixens of Crush, and we use that.
We do. We use that.
There you go.
So,
I love it.
It's only appropriate you're our first guest.
I love that your
Exactly.
brand centers around crushes. Crushes are awesome. It's a great brand. It fits with erotica. It's charming. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
You guys are doing great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. So you have some exciting news because you have a new book coming out.
I do. It sucks because I have all I have is like a not for resale proof of the book, and it doesn't have the final cover. But I'm still gonna show it because it's gonna give you guys like a little, like this is kind of what it's going to look like, but it's going to look better. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
And we can get into aesthetics because I have the first volume and I have the second volume, and now I'm gone. And I wanted the titles to be, identical on each.
Right.
And I wanted the spines to be identical on each. And when I put them next to the other, I noticed that I was happy that my model's shoulder was on the spine as well. I thought it was dope. But it meant that from far away, you couldn't read the title properly.
Oh,
yeah.
And I think it's better if you can see the title properly.
yeah.
So I had to change the image and pull it back so that she fits entirely within the frame of the cover. Her face is still cut off at the lips because I think that's really sexy for some reason. Nothing wrong with the upper part of anybody's faces. But there's something about anonymity maybe that makes it sexy. I don't know.
Well, then you can fantasize what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
So,
I love that you always put so much detail into your covers. Like you spend so much time with them.
Hours
and
days.
Yeah. Months. I mean, you spend so much time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I love
It
that.
went through different iterations. It's a tricky one, too, because since the title, takes up most of the cover, it's very, you can't fit a face in there because you'll either, the title will go over the lips or it'll go over the eyes. And if you don't have the lips and the eyes, there's no point having a face there. I got really lucky with my first one because I tossed her like just right so that her eyes were here and you could see her lips in the sea, and it made for a very sexy cover. But you don't want to do that trick twice in a row, or else, So I settled on this. It's going to. I want a lot of stories in my books. Like my first one had 33 stories and over
How many are in this
400 pages. 40 stories.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
471 pages. It's a volume,
It's a beast.
That's what I want, but I understand that this means that it will be costly for readers. More than it won't be a 99-cent book and it won't be a $6 physical book. It'll be costly. So since those who decide to either like read me because they know me from Medium or take a chance on me because I have the greatest erotica anthology book title of all time. I want them to have something that's gorgeous.
Right.
So this, I mean, it sucks because right now, like you have the gray band and it's not the final, but it's going to be gorgeous. The back, this is what the back looks like, but
Yeah.
it's not final either because I was admiring it 3 weeks ago and I noticed some truly nightmarish underboob
The
AI
coloring. Yeah.
kerfuffle that I had to fix
Yeah.
on Photoshop. There is like, you guys don't know. Well, I mean, I'll tell you, so you will. But there's a lot of like, it starts with AI, and then there's a lot of Photoshop fixing so that it gets to where nothing is broken or nightmarish. So I've got some quality underboob for folks who will buy this book. That's an Eli Casablanca
I
Perfect.
love
guarantee.
his dedication to the covers, though, because
I
so
do too.
many
I love it.
people just don't put that effort needed, and everybody judges a book by its cover. So I just love your dedication
It
and
needs
your
to be
excitement.
beautiful.
Like
Yeah.
you can feel his excitement over it, and I love that.
Yeah.
I want it was the same with my novel that I did under my other name. I slaved on that cover for
That's a great cover too.
Thank
It
you.
is.
It should be like books should be beautiful. I don't know, inside and
I
out.
agree.
There you go. That's a little talk about the art of making a good book cover.
But I think you're right. It is an art, and people should take the time and energy to do it right.
Right.
Yeah, but here's the, I'm really proud of the book covers, both of volume 1 and volume 2. But here's the thing. It's not everything. And like there's maybe because some people are gonna some of the people who listen to you, I have to assume are writers. Some of them are readers, but some of them are your fellow writers who follow you on your socials and who like you just like I do. And some of them can't be fucked to do like, oh shit, has it been 3 minutes?
Yeah, you're fine.
You're fine. You're fine.
There you go. All right. So some of them can't be fucked to spend like, 3 months working and perfecting a book cover. They just want like, they're proud of what's on the inside and they're going to get like a little cover, like a little stock photo that looks good, that fits their theme. That's okay. Like there are no rules. I really enjoy the process of creating the book cover and doing the spine and doing everything. I have my little logo. I don't like it's not none of it is legal. Like I don't have a publishing house, but I'm Club Secret Books. That's and I have a little logo and everything. But that's me. I really enjoy it. If you're a writer out there listening and going, fuck, I have to. No, you don't have to do anything other than write, and hopefully put that stuff out there. Everything else, the gorgeous book cover is a cherry on top, but it's not the mission statement. The mission statement is your writing. I just want to.
I mean, I agree with that, and I don't agree with that because I feel like I know, because there is a formula to covers, and there is a way like that needs to be like, even with like the sizing of your name and where it's placed and different things have to be on there for people to see them and to be able to recognize your brand, because you want to kind of have your brand throughout all of your books.
I'm just trying not to scare people away from.
I know, but they kind of got to know, because if they
want to sell,
right? Because if you're not like doing the different things, people do turn away from a cover, and they look at it because they think if it looks really bad on the outside. And I'm not saying I'm the best at covers, because I'm not, but I'm just saying
you're pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm bad at them. I'm just not like I'm not.
I mean, look at this. Look at this gorgeousn's. Oh, I just froze.
Yeah. You just froze. Well, you froze on a good part. I mean,
yeah, look at it. Beautiful picture. Beautiful picture.
Um,
There you go.
but yeah, I mean, I do like making covers, but I feel like if it doesn't look good, people are going to assume, and that's doesn't mean it's true. They're going to assume the
Yeah,
inside is not good.
Yeah.
you're not
Um,
wrong.
and
But
I mean, I don't
also,
like that. I don't like it, but it's what people do. I mean, we look at aesthetic and we make assumptions.
but I do
Sadly.
also like the way we have our stuff done where we can look at our Amazon page or whatever, and all of our covers have like that same feel and where our name places and when the thumbnails, you can see our names and the titles in the thumbnail. Like, I do like that her method has kind of got us down to a science in some ways to where we
Yeah.
can generate the covers pretty decently easy. So I do
Yeah.
appreciate that and like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the ones that especially because we produce weekly, so it's a
Right.
little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are
So
are an entirely different ballgame. It's not a little different. It's you. I cannot believe the output you guys managed to put out there on my best day. Like I can't do what you guys do.
yeah, but
Well, I don't know. You
I
have
mean,
a lot of stories. Like you could probably if you
Well,
put
it
them
I
all
mean,
takes
together
having
me.
40
individually.
stories, 40 stories, and I mean, you put your other one out last year, so 40 stories in a year. I mean, that's pretty good.
What's your
It's
average
That's
word size?
let's call it a first. Let's call it a year and a half because
okay.
if I
Okay.
remember
Still,
correctly, I
still,
put out the volume 1 in like January or February of 2023. So
Well,
it's
it was
like,
later than that.
was it?
Yeah, because
no,
I
I
got it and
think.
I didn't know you in February.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I joined in March. And I have it on I got it like your first week. I have it on my Kindle.
Okay.
I'm,
I
so the
don't
book,
think
it's 2023, but it doesn't have the month.
What's your print day
So
say on the back, Sonny, of the book?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, it says 2023. It doesn't have a month.
Oh, the back of the book doesn't say the day it's printed
Mm-mm.
on the back page?
Anyways, okay, let's call it a 40 stories in a year, but that seems high. I
Well,
think
what's
it's a
your
year and a couple
average?
months.
April. It's
Because
April
I don't
2023.
April. There you go. Thank you.
So still a year and a half. But what's your
Yeah.
average word count
What's that for per day?
per story?
I don't write every day.
No, per story. Are they 3,000 word stories, 7,000 word stories?
I don't. Okay, so I have been writing my entire life, but word count is a new thing for me. Like I
Yeah.
never bothered with it. It took me by surprise when I wrote my novel because I realized that I had 211,000 words, and that kicked
That's
that
insane.
like stabbed me in the back because it stopped me. Well, I mean, probably a plethora of things stopped me from getting an agent, but certainly nobody's going to take a chance on a first book that's going to cost so much to print. So, and I did not know. I didn't know that was even a thing. So it's
Right.
not like I couldn't tell you. I know that my average uh minutes like read on Medium is probably higher than the suggested 7 minutes. It's probably
Yeah.
more around 15 minutes. And then
So that's
sometimes
about 5,000 words a story.
yeah,
So I
okay.
mean, so really you're doing about what we do.
What we do.
I mean, yeah, what we do.
It just takes me longer.
Not that much longer though. So how many words are in volume 2?
It's 471 pages. I could tell you that. I have no fucking clue how many words are in the book. I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
But
it
sounds like you produce the same amount. And if you just had published each of those individually, you could have done the same production that we do. Or pretty close to it.
Yeah, but we have a different mentality, maybe that's not the right word, but I don't want to put out like little stories. I want anthologies. I want my I like to imagine that somebody has, short stories in which people fuck volume 2 on their nightstand for a year. And then once in a while, they'll take it and they'll read a story. It will satisfy them. Maybe it'll inspire them to fuck differently tonight,
Yeah.
and then that book lasts. They can pick it up. I know that I remember, Skylar, you telling me that you would pick up my book and you would pick a story randomly. Like, you didn't read my book.
And I missed some. I didn't realize I missed by doing that because I didn't read it all the way through.
But I love it. I love that you could go, like, you can look at this beautiful. That's also not final, I don't think, but look at this beautiful table of content.
Yeah.
And it continues on the other side. Like, there's a lot to be devoured here. And some of these stories are 2 pages long. Some of them are super quick. And then, like, the average is stuff like the New York Underground one that I wrote for you guys. There was a theme. I don't remember how it came about, but I know that I wrote it for you guys.
Yeah.
I think that was public masturbation.
Yeah. There you go.
That's what it was. It was our first.
That was our first one.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Part of history.
You know what I loved about that first book is that I loved your favorite story, and that was my favorite.
The Western.
Story. Well, the one there was it was with the rooms and the Simon character, and you said you loved that one, that you identified most with that one.
Wait, say that again, because I always spoke over you. Which one?
It was with the Simon character that had the different rooms.
Oh, the 5 Rooms of Pleasure.
5 Rooms of Pleasure. Yeah. I loved that one.
That's one where I indulged because that was not a 15-minute read.
It was an excellent one.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was my favorite, hands down.
There's
it left moments with me. It was good.
If you liked that one and you end up picking up volume 2, there's a character in volume 2 that's in 2 stories, which is a first, I think. He's called Mathias de Canto, and he's like a French guy. This is in the 1700s in France, so it's like castles and stuff. And the first story is called The Adventures of Mathias de Canto, and it's maybe 3 pages long. It's super quick, and it tells you that he's a bit of a scoundrel and he likes to fuck. And then the second story is called The Further Adventures of Mathias de Canto, and I think it's the longest story in the book. It's like 40 pages long, and he fucks the entire time. Like, he goes from room to room again. But there's more of a story. The 5 Rooms of Pleasure was not so much about, like, it didn't have a narrative. It was other than go from room to room and discover how you're going to get laid in that new room. And the other one has a whole intrigue. He's about to be executed for crimes against the king because he infiltrated himself into the king's castle and he fucked the queen. So you follow, like, the morning of his execution when he's got the hangman's noose around his neck, and you keep going back to the night before and what he actually was up to. And he fucked the queen, but he fucked so many people that night. And you get to see all of it. So it's like the same deal of going from one sex scene to another. So I think you'll like it.
It was such a good book, though. I look forward to book 2.
I'm so proud of it. Like, I've been rereading them because I've been, revising. And these are stories that I've already revised ad nauseum before putting them out on Medium.
Right.
But
are they all on Medium?
There, none of that. No, that's not true. One of them's on Medium now. That I will pull from Medium like on the 17th of October because it's in the book. But I deleted them all because Sunny scared the shit out of me. She was like, no, you could be.
Because you just never know when they're going to do the search and find it, and so you don't want to risk it.
Is it in Kindle Unlimited?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. You don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want to risk it.
That's why I wouldn't have told him to like remove them if it wasn't for that.
No, and I had all my stories from book 1 were still.
I know. I was amazed that you were that they never said anything to you because I've like unlisted a story and they've caught it, and I'm like, I don't have it anywhere. I don't understand. And then, so like you have to delete it, and I'm like, okay.
Well,
That's
because
fine.
Sean and I got Sean and I's was not allowed through Draft to Digital because they were able to find it without even having a Medium account.
Yeah.
They were able to read Sean and I's.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
So
So
I
it's-
removed everything. I left, and then I wrote one, and I really enjoyed it. So I think it's Rain Soaked Silver. I think that might be it. And I was like, it's too. And my book was now at 39, and I was like, well, I can't have 39 stories. It has to be 40. 39 is not a good number. 40 is a good number. Nice.
I know
round.
someone else like that who needs numbers.
Yeah, there you go. So I put it in there, but I decided I'll keep it on Medium so that people. But yeah, there's basically very soon there's going to be very little, if any, erotica on the Medium page.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to start on volume 3.
Yeah, but I've been thinking about something. You guys have questions? We can go to that. I
enjoying the
might retire
conversation.
Eli for a
Yeah.
while,
Just you're gonna
Why are
retire,
you gonna do
Eli?
that?
so that I can do stories under the other name that are
Yeah.
not erotica, and try to get that other name more known, so that then people can go to the book. Yeah, I'm trying to push the book.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll tell you something, and I have to be careful because I'm really proud of my erotica work, and I don't want to talk down. But I've been catching myself rooting against myself. I'll tell you what I mean. Like, I'll go on KDP. For anybody who's listening to this who doesn't know what KDP is, it's when you publish your book via Amazon and you get reports and you get stats, and you know if people are reading your book through the Kindle
Yeah.
Unlimited service or if you've sold a copy. So if I'd go to my reports and I would see that I sold a copy, I would be super happy. And then if I saw that it was an Eli Casablanca book, I would get bummed out because I want the other book to sell. Like, the other book
Right.
is my favorite thing that I've ever done in my entire life. So
Yeah.
I'm rooting for it. And that's not to say I don't like the Eli Casablanca stuff. I love it. But then for a few months, I was like, well, fuck, I keep rooting against myself. Like, I should be happy either way, but I'm
Right.
not. I want the other guy to win. I want the other guy to sell. And I want that book to really take off. So I was like, well, I think I have like to do something about this. So I think I'm going to pull all the risky stuff, keep all the clean short stories that I did mostly with the prompts,
Mm-hmm.
and then just keep doing that under the other name for a while. And my plan was keep writing the Eli stuff, but don't publish it, and then come out with short stories in which people fuck volume 3, that in which no one will have read a single page, which would be exciting for that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how things are going to go down, but this is my mindset right now.
Do you advertise the other book?
Yeah, it's the only one I pay, like on Amazon, you mean?
Well, other
Anywhere.
places like Bookspry has a science fiction emailing list that you can use. I have a lot of success with Bookspry, and
Yeah.
I mean, there's just other places that you can look at to market, and you can market
Listen.
both, market one, whatever.
We need to talk about this, but this is about smut.
Right.
So
This is about smut.
You know, like,
Yeah.
let's talk about smut.
Well, I can help
we
you
should,
later.
yeah, later on, like, I want to hear about this. I think the people who tune into your podcast want to hear about Eli's stuff and not my science fiction side project.
I think the people who tune in just want to learn about us in general, what we're all dynamic and different and have
That's true.
layers, and it's just a part of your
Yeah.
layers, and I think that's great. Today's about you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Exactly.
I couldn't have said it better.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sunny, you want to ask him a question? We can do a couple back and
Yes.
forth.
Let me bring up my questions. What books or magazines do you read regularly? What types of books or magazines?
I don't read any magazines.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I don't. I read books. I'm currently reading a fantasy book because I kept hearing about it on TikTok, and Hold on. Let me go see. I can't remember the title, but I'll tell you.
Okay.
Amazon. My purchase. Oh, I can't because this is in the way. My orders. There you go. This will tell me, right? Oh, there you go. Brendan Sanderson, The Way of Kings, Book 1 of the Stormlight Archives.
That's
So
a
I'm reading
mouthful.
that. It's like 1,000-page, huge fantasy thing, and I understood that it was part 1 of 5 after I purchased it, and I don't think that I would have because I don't like multiple parts. I like one and done stories.
Yeah.
But it's good so far. I
Yeah.
read I read fantasy, I read young adult stuff. I read the most wonderful book I read in the last few years was the Invisible Life of Adi Larue, which if you've not read this, I cannot recommend it enough. It feels timeless. It's incredibly well written, and the concept is beautiful. But it's book like these. And then online, I read a shit ton of erotica because I have so many friends who write really solid erotica, and I try to learn from them as much as possible. There you go.
All right.
All right. I'll ask a question next.
Okay.
What is the most shocking thing you've discovered about writing?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. I think the most shocking thing I've discovered is that there's no rules. It's the far west. I keep seeing people say, "Oh, you shouldn't write third person. You shouldn't write first person." Or everybody's got their opinion. And I remember, especially when I started writing erotica, I kept seeing people say what you shouldn't do, and then I would go and I would do it just to see if I could get away with it. And only to realize that if you have a good story, there's nothing that won't work. I mean, that's not to say all writing is good. There's a lot. I read a lot of terrible things too. I would never tell anybody, because I'd like that people are writing. But there's good writing and there's bad writing. I have found through my writing personally that there's really nothing you can't do as long as you think about what you're trying to do and you try to achieve that as well as possible. But like, especially first person, third person, even like using you as like sort of the first person of a story, you can do all of it, and it can work. Doesn't mean it always done. You should see how my failed attempts folder. It's brimming with stuff that didn't work. But when it works, there's no better feeling. There you go.
Good answer.
Yeah. So when you're talking about like the first person, third person, do you have a preference and genre for what you read, the point of view, whether it's first person or third person? I
tend to write mostly, well, it's not true of erotica, but when I write short stories, I'm mostly third person. And I like to be like third person, but personally I know that it's from one of their points of views. So it can be unreliable. Like I'll write third person, but I'll write it as like I won't say anything that my main character doesn't know, for example. So like you'll go through the book and it's set in third person, but there might be a mistake, and that's because he or she, whoever my protagonist is, doesn't know the truth. So then the reader, can't know the truth either. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I lean on third person a lot, but I've tried it all and I've had fun with all of it. And for erotica, first person works really well, I find.
It does.
It does. I mean, I always wrote third person before I started really writing erotica, and then I moved into first person
Oh
because
yeah.
that seems to work more. But my
Do
other stuff
you?
is third.
Let me ask you something. When you read somebody else's work and the character they're writing is their gender, so let's say you're writing a story that I wrote, and the character, the main character, and the first person is a man, or I'm reading something Skylar wrote, and the first person character is a woman. Do you imagine the author? Because I can't fucking help it. Very often, I'll imagine, or even if
Yeah.
physically, I don't necessarily I can't help but think, oh, they like that shit. You know?
Yeah. And not really. I don't.
Okay.
Just like
No.
on not random stories. I don't know. Now, I mean, if they use their name in the story, then yeah, I do at that point. But not
I
like
read
just like
people
normally.
like if I read a woman and she's writing from the point of view of a woman, I can't help it. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's her. It's her.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess like sometimes you do kind of write that way because I write a lot of stuff that's sunny. So I mean, I guess
That's
it
true.
is.
You put
Yeah.
yourself at all of your crush stories were
Yeah.
based they were fictional, obviously, but they were you. You
Right.
were the character.
Yeah.
I don't know that how I've written some. You're right. I've written a couple where it's actually Eli. There's
Yeah.
a story in volume 2 where it's Eli meeting a publisher. It's an elevator sex story.
Yeah.
Have you
For
read that,
me,
I
Skylar?
have.
I remember, Sonny, that you have because you told me.
Yeah.
I don't know if Skylar has because
I did.
you did. You remember the mechanics of that story? That there's two.
Not a lot, but I did remember reading it.
I'm here to pimp my books. I'm going to tell you about
You
that
should.
story a little bit.
You should. Yes.
It's fucking dope. Seriously, because
It is a good story.
Do you remember what it does?
I do because it kind of goes. If I remember correctly, it kind of goes into the story that, and then into like reality. Like it's
The
yeah.
guy is writing it's Eli Casablanca. He writes erotica, obviously, and he's stuck in an elevator with this beautiful woman who's like the head of publishing for a huge indie publisher.
Right.
And she's like, okay, pitch me. And he starts telling her the story, and he gets into the sex, and it turns her on. So they start having sex while he's telling her. So you have the sex that's happening in the story that's being told, and you have the sex that's happening in the elevator that's being told, and you keep switching back and forth between the two, and it's never the same thing. It would be lazy to say, well, now in the story she sucks his dick, so and then the woman starts sucking his dick in the elevator. It's always two different things, but they weave into one and the other. This was a nightmare to write, but
I'm sure it was.
But it was so fun though to pull it off. Who knows if I pulled it off, but I was very, very happy.
You pulled it off. Yeah,
Thank
pulled
you.
it off. Yeah.
So I don't generally think of who it is unless I have like some type of conversation relationship with the person. I like the New York story
Underground.
with the underground. Like I definitely pictured you with that one, but because that seemed like a very Eli story. But I don't generally, because usually when I'm reading authors, I don't know them. Like when I'm not reading friends on Medium, but I'm just reading books.
See, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Forget about sometimes I'll read an erotica story and I feel like I'm getting to know the author.
I don't feel that way because I mean, the ones that I read, I guess I don't feel like I'm learning anything. I don't know.
Well, what about like, so you're reading somebody's story and like, so like a sex scene can be, a bunch of different things. So let's say the sex is S&M. And then the author goes really into detail into like this S&M journey that that couple goes through in a night. Don't you feel then like it's not about you learning about S&M? Maybe you know everything about S&M, but you're learning that the person who wrote this story is very adept at writing about S&M, and doesn't that then tell you a little something about them? Or maybe it's completely fucking fictional, but maybe
Right.
not.
No, I don't. I personally don't, because I don't generally know the person writing it.
Yeah.
I think when I read my friends, I'm more apt to. Just because
when you read Sunny, do you know which stuff is like, she likes it, and which stuff is, well, that's fiction because I know she doesn't like that?
I mean, when I read Sunny, yes.
Yeah, when I'm asking you, yeah, you do?
Yeah. When you read my stuff, do you know what's me versus what's not?
I think you like all of it, personally.
We've had conversations. You know that's not true.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no. I saw a door open for a joke and I walked right in. Who knows? Who knows? I think there's a part of me that wants to believe that shit. Also, probably, So then I'll allow myself the fantasy of, the author is completely into this, and I mean, it can't
and that's
always
the
be
whole
true.
point in the stories, though.
What?
That's the whole point in the stories, is the fantasy, and for the reader to get that. So, I mean, that's great.
We absolutely want that.
Yeah. There you go. Win-win.
But if I was reading a woman, I wouldn't care. Like, I wouldn't.
What do you mean?
Like, if I was reading yours, I would never picture you doing whatever it is you're writing about.
No, but do you feel that it's a window into their desires? Forget about
Not to Sunny's. Not to Sunny's, no.
What about other people you read on Medium? Yeah, you
I
might
think sometimes. Sometimes I do. Yeah.
I like when I read Leonora, sometimes I do think like, oh, this might be her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I do with a lot of people that I read. I think that it probably is.
Like sometimes I've even in the new one, I remember in the first book, there's a story about two boxers, and it's a gay story. I mean, it's a gay story. It's a man story.
Right.
And I have no, sorry, my dog's bored. So sometimes I throw things for my dog. I don't have, like, I would tell you with confidence that I'm 90% heterosexual with a possible 10%. If I met Harrison Ford circa Temple of Doom, I don't know what would happen. But otherwise, but then I was like, yeah, but you've written Girl. And I felt like a hypocrite a little bit, because I would, some people want to read about multiple dicks. So I tried to write a gay story. And I mean, if you're going to write a blowjob, it's still going to be a blowjob. It doesn't matter that the person sucking a dick is a man, right? And I tried it. And I think there's 2 instances in the volume 2 where there's gay sex. In fact, in the Mathias de Canto story that I was talking about earlier, Mathias likes everything. Mathias enjoys fucking. So he in the course of the night, he fucks a man too. And it's fine. You're writing about sex. You're writing about pleasure. There's nothing, I mean, you don't want to mess it up. I was talking to a black friend I have recently, and you'll notice there are no stories in which I've written and said specifically that person is a person of color. And I just don't mention the colors, and sometimes I'll say like moon pale skin or something like that, because it's poetic. But I was talking to her about this stuff, and we were talking about rough sex and about grabbing her hair from behind and blah blah blah. And then she said, "Oh no," she said, "if you do this tomorrow, you're buying me new weaves." Because a black woman's relationship to her hair is different than like it costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of time to get their hair right. So there is writing that you can put your foot in your mouth if you do it wrong.
Right.
And I'm sure that it's the same for gay sex.
I'm sure.
Like there's stuff that you can do, that you can write. Like I'm not very schooled on man sex. I've never had it, and I've never really watched it. So all of it, like I was very careful to it not go too far from a very known path. Because you don't want to write something and then have a gay person read it and say, "The fuck's he talking about? This is not how it goes,"
Yeah.
Anyways.
Was that a story?
I get it.
Oh, go ahead.
Nothing. I was just going to say, I get it. I mean, when I write female, it's, you have to think about it more because that's not something I experienced. So writing it, you have to be really careful with what you're doing.
Because it has to be, specifically, it should be exciting for if a gay person reads it.
Right.
That's who your target audience is. I mean, I know that as a straight man, like I'll read a lesbian story and I can find my way to enjoying that tremendously. So I wouldn't pick up on any, errors that one might make. But you're not writing your gay story for me first place. You're writing your gay story so that a gay woman might stumble onto it. Or if you're writing a gay story for men, like a woman story for men to read, it's a lot fucking easier because you're still writing what men like.
Right.
It's different than if you're writing let's call it a lesbian story for where your target audience would be a woman. It's the same thing for the other way around, I guess. If you're writing a man story, but you're writing it so that women can enjoy reading it, that's a different ballgame than if you're writing it for a gay man to read.
Right. It is. It definitely is.
I am so hard. No. It's a joke. I'm sorry. I'm not.
We need to add some disclaimers to this show.
Yeah. Question. Question
okay.
me.
Okay. What does your author what does your author life look like in 5 years?
Oh my God. In 5 years. Okay.
And we got about 10 minutes left. So we got 10 minutes.
Can we keep talking? Worst case, if we're having a good time, and there can be a part 1 and a part 2. What's the big deal? Right?
We'll see where we're at.
We'll see where we're at.
All right, fair enough. Okay. Right. I'm having a good time talking to you.
We're having a blast.
Yeah.
So there would ideally there would be a volume 3 that exists, but there would also be another novel written by the other guy. That would be my dream. It's more. It takes a lot more out of me to write a novel than to write a short story, obviously, because you stop thinking about your short story once it's done. Whereas when you write a novel, it's in your head 24/7 for months on end. So, but that's the dream. The dream would be to find the time to write a second novel and maybe find a little success with that.
Do you write them at the same time? Or do you write one and then no?
I've not listen. The thing is, I wrote my first novel under insanely ideal conditions because I was working at a place for 22 years and it closed. And the company didn't go bankrupt. They just closed the Montreal office, which means I had a package. And my package was, we're going to pay you full time for 39 weeks, which amounted to like from January 1st to the last week of September included. And then in October, I needed to get a new job. So I decided, and I had Pao, I had my dog, so I couldn't because it would have been easy to say, let's just go around the world. Because you have money coming in, like you're never going to run out of money. Like as long as you're not stupid, you can do a lot of mileage on that. But I couldn't because I don't want to leave my dog with my sister for a fucking year. So I had only ever written short stories. So I was like, well, you ran out of excuses. You can write a book now. So that's what I did. I wrote a book. I went to a cafe. I treated it like a job, like 5 days a week. I would go to a cafe and I would write for 4 hours to 6 hours. And then I would go and spend the rest of the day with my dog. And there's no, that's the best year of my life. That's like, if I won the lottery, this is what I would do. I would go write at a cafe and just write books. And then I spent like 4 years revising that book because it was a big book.
You said 4 years?
Yeah, I did 16 revisions on that book.
Oh my God.
Somebody made fun of me. Like I said that on Twitter,
wow.
And somebody was like, well, that's overdoing it. And I was like, well, no, if I read it and something makes me cringe, then it's not ready. Yeah. So then I'm going to go. And so I read those 527 pages 16 times.
Wow.
It was a lot, but then it made a book that I could stand behind and be like, nah, this is as good as I can take it, as far as I can push it. But I would love to have the time to do that. So I have not written a novel since. Like this all happened before Eli Casablanca started existing, and then I've been working on my craft. Like this is why my stories are so. Often they are narratively driven more than just like I read a lot. I read some amazing erotica it's just a sex scene. There's zero narrative. It's just this is what happens, and I'm not besmirching that. It's fine. It's great erotica, but it's not what I do. What I do is here's a story. I almost opened volume 2 with an author's note. I didn't, but I almost did. That would have said, forget that this is erotica. Like go into these stories as if they're a story, and what you're in the mood for is not sex, but it's to be told a story. And the sex will come. Every time the sex is going to come. But if you want sex, you're going to roll your eyes at me because I'm like, yeah, but wait, here, we're in the 30s and this is what happened. He's a private detective, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, no, just where's the fucking? Whereas if you approach these stories as if you're in the mood to be told a tale, then you'll get what you're in the mood for. And then guess what? They're still going to fuck eventually. Yeah. But I didn't write that because I thought it made me sound like an asshole.
That's adorable.
There you go. 5 years from now, a third anthology and a second novel. That's the plan.
You'll do it. You put it into existence. You'll make it happen.
Yep.
I put it out there. There you go.
Yes.
No choice.
I have faith in you.
Thank you. What else? What have we not covered?
Well, when is your new book coming out? Did we say the date? I don't think we said the date.
We didn't.
No, we have not said the date. It's coming out on October 18th, 2 days before I turn what age? Skylar.
46.
50.
Sonny's right. It's 50.
I was giving you a few years.
Thank you.
As being
well, I'm not saying that he looks bad. I'm just saying he
said doesn't look it.
Well, it's in my I'm very open about my age on my Twitter bio. Like it's a 49-year-old author. I don't want anybody to get any illusions about how old I am. So I'm turning 50 on the 20th, which is why I picked that Friday. I was like, it's going to be a nice gift from me to myself. So you can buy Short Stories in Which People Fuck Volume 2, which will not look like this. It will look better. In less than 3 weeks from when this airs.
It's airing the week before.
Well,
right?
It's airing the 8th, is what Sunny said.
This is
So 10 days before.
Tuesday.
Yeah, the week before.
Yeah, exactly.
So are you selling
mostly?
Are you selling signed copies?
No, should I be? I have not done that. I could. How does that even work on Amazon?
You would order your author copies.
Yeah.
And then people would pay you, and then you would ship it.
Right.
We can talk about that later if you want help.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, it's just like how you ordered mine. You would do it the same way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, that's a good idea. I just don't know who would want my signature, but maybe I have to.
I didn't think people would want mine either, but
me too.
And yet here we are.
Order it, yeah.
So where can our listeners find you?
Yes.
Aww.
There you go. Where can your listeners find me? They can find Eli Casablanca in one place, which is on Twitter, at Eli Casablanca, one word. You should follow me. It's a good time, I think, if I'm not being too presumptuous. You used to be able to find me on Medium as well. However, there's a very strong likelihood that that's not going to be the case for a while anyways, because I'm very interested in exploring just writing stories that don't have sex in them publicly to build my other brand, because Eli Casablanca has more followers than the other guy.
Yeah.
So, that sucks. Like, I'm sure I can.
Why don't you advertise the other guy under Eli?
He does. I
do. I retweet the other guy. Here's the thing.
It's just that they're so different that I don't like. Your other is not going to normally transfer over into Eli, but you may have Eli.
That's what I mean.
Fans transfer over into your
That's
other.
the point. The thing is, I think erotica readers are like fine with reading the other guy. It's just that like the other guy can't push Eli Casablanca stuff because my book, like some kids might read that book.
Exactly.
And I don't want kids to know about Eli Casablanca. As proud of it as I am, it's not the same. I have family. Nobody in my family knows about Eli Casablanca, by the way.
Nobody?
Yeah. Nobody. No. My mom's old. Like, I'm 50, right? So that puts my parents at a certain age, and they're a certain generation, and it's just not the same views on that kind of stuff, unfortunately. So which sucks, by the way, because it means I'm very, very proud of that I'm releasing a book, and I like, some of my friends know, so I've told them, but I can't make a big deal out of it the way that I did when I released my novel last year.
Right.
That was huge. Like, we did a book launch and at a pub, and people came, and none of that can happen with Eli, unfortunately. But I was thinking, like, I know that you guys go to book cons and stuff, and maybe at some point I could like order like 20 copies of my book or something, and I'd go to a book con, go somewhere, and maybe meet you guys.
Yep, you could definitely do that.
Probably, that would be great. There's so many different opportunities that I mean, you're able to do. It's pretty amazing.
And there's a lot of people who don't let their real life know about their erotic writing that go to these events and stuff too. So I mean,
exactly.
I mean, people in my life know, but not a lot of people know.
Same.
About what I did. So it's just. I mean,
I wish
she wasn't really thrilled, but she knew. She did give pointers though too.
She did.
So it was a little awkward, but it's fine.
Like, I wish I could advertise are all the things Sunny and I have been able to do over the last 2 years and talk about it on like my real social medias, but I don't. And I wish I
that's
could.
the hard part of like building this brand and building this business is that your life outside of Sunny and Crush is not something that you can really
talk
tell
about.
everybody. Yeah.
Nope. There you go. That's okay.
Our chosen family gets all the goods, not our actual.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. But you
Until
gotta
I make it big, and then I'm just gonna be like, I don't care, whatever.
Exactly. Like, look what we did.
Yeah.
But let me know, Skylar, about you were talking about some ways to spread the word. And
so we can circle back. And there's so much. Not speaking for her, but I'm sure we'd be glad to help you with that. I mean, there's so much we can do.
There's tons of stuff.
So much
that you can do to help with to advertise at other places.
Cool.
Absolutely.
I mean, Amazon definitely helps, but there are other resources that you could advertise.
Amazon, like I pay like for the cheapest advertising service that they have, because I don't I'm in debt. I don't have a lot of money, but my book was released in July 2023, and other than like that first month, like I sold a bunch, but I've sold my novel at least like 4 or 5 copies every month since it came out. I think that's like for an absolute unknown, that's not bad.
How many?
Not at all.
So they say it's what 100 to 200 sales total per book for the lifetime for indie authors is like really average at most.
What the average is. So you're doing really well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have like 113 books sold or something, because there's 37 that I don't count because on the 1-year anniversary I gave away like Kindle copies, like it was free for a day. And like so I got 37 out of that. I don't count those because they're not sold, but people have the book, and I don't count the 40 copies I sold at my book launch, because that's in family.
That still counts, but
you still sold them.
You still sold them. They still paid money for them.
Well, then it's 150. Let's call it.
See, you're right where you should be compared to other people.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, and unfortunately for you, because you write such a long book, that is the key, is having more of a catalog too.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do when you're writing these big fantasy books like that. But I mean, that's,
we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. You just got to
get the next one written. You just got to get the next one written.
Still, the pleasure remains in the writing. To me,
and that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then, okay, we still have a little bit of time.
Sure.
You guys are on KDP, right?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you happiest? Seeing
on KDP?
Yeah, seeing that you sold a copy, or seeing pages read?
Sold a copy.
I sold a copy.
Absolutely.
Not me. Yeah. I like
that's
pages
because you
read.
you have really long books. Really and so you're looking at them being like, oh, they're reading this one, they're at this part now, and they're at that part. And so I get that, but mine are shorter, so I don't really have that. And the ones,
mine are 30 pages.
With Sanctuary Security, it's 400 pages, but that is.
But even Blood Myth is not. That's not a short book. That's
no, that one's not. And there's 2 of those.
Because the thing is, a lot of people will buy, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, but a lot of people will buy a book and put it on the shelf, and they might read it and they might not. So the 150 books I've sold, maybe 5% of those were actually read, maybe more. There's no fucking way to know. But pages read are pages read. And often I'll see on Kindle, it's 1,044 pages, I think, because the Kindle is short, right? So when it gets to this, I know somebody read the book, and then like I'll check a couple of days later on Amazon, and I'll see a new rating. I'll see like a 5-star rating, and I'll see someone say this book is gonna stay in my heart for my entire fucking life. And I'm like, there's
Yeah.
nothing better than that. There's nothing better than
Yeah.
someone saying, I laughed and I cried and I want this book to never end. There's nothing better. That's
No, there's
why I
not.
do it.
That's yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
There you go. What a
That's-
great note to finish this on.
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly, it
speaking of
is.
books, Sunny, we forgot to talk about our
What
books.
hey, let me ask you one last question.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you guys have coming up?
Sunny, you want to go ahead?
Okay, well, this Friday, well, the 4th, I had my roommates and his friends is being released. And then on the 11th, I have Sanctuary Security, the entire series print book will be released.
Nice. Look forward to that.
Yeah.
So
As I'm on-
last Friday, I had my first erotic horror, a Necrosis Blackout, that I was really happy about. I'm so loving that book and that story, and I like what I did with it. And then
What's the story?
A Necrosis Blackout,
Mm-hmm.
like what's it about?
Yeah.
This lady is a serial killer, and she likes to kill people after she fucks them. And there's a little twist at the end, and it was a lot of fun. It was a challenge, and I really, really loved it. And I wish I could do more of them.
Cool.
You can.
So, I know
Yeah,
I
that's
can, but
true.
it took like brain power. It wasn't
Yeah.
get it out. Like I had to think about it. I
Yeah.
had to plan. And then on the 15th, I have my collaboration with the monstrous, oh my God, mistake. And it's an orc for Halloween. And that one was a real challenge because I don't know anything about orcs, but it was a lot of fun. And I love that story and I love the cover. So those are my two, what's going on.
You seem to be in a very like fantasy centric mood these days, Skylar.
I know, and I don't know why. It's a little bit more me. Sunny has always preached the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
And right now I feel like I'm in a really good pace. I mean, I've had 52 books released in 52 weeks. And so
What's
I have
80-20? Sorry.
80% of your work goes towards your fans and what, like I write for
Your
my
market.
readers. Yeah. And 20% for me. And
Okay.
I kind of, I like that. I like the wolf, the vampire. I like that paranormal mystery, science fiction type thing. And so I'm kind of established. I have a good core base that's moving traction. And so now I feel like I'm being a little daring and able to try some fun and write for me.
That's why I don't hit your numbers, either of you.
Yeah, I know.
Because I'm 100% me. And
that's okay.
Some people will follow, some won't. But we didn't tackle this, and we should have. And I know that we're out of time.
What is it?
Isn't it great that you can fit erotica into like any genres? Because my book has science fiction in it, the new one coming out on the 18th. It has horror. It has a vampire story. It has a werewolf story. It has a detective story. It has the Mathias de Canto stuff in French 1700s. It has like fucking, 20 different genres explored.
Yeah.
Where else can you do that other than erotica? And it still blends seamlessly.
I think it's wonderful because sex is in everything.
Yeah.
And
it is. Yeah.
And that's part of what we like celebrating on the podcast is that, the joys of reading it in literature, writing it, and all the fun.
Exactly.
And that's also one of the benefits of writing the way we do with our short stories is we can change up, all of us, like we can change up what we're feeling and what genre we're in and what we're in the mood for. Like, I love that for all of us.
Yep. I agree 100%. How do we close this? What do you guys do? Do you have
we
a
talk about
catchphrase?
we talk about the sponsor, which is you.
So, yes.
Yeah.
So
There you
Eli Casablanca was our guest today, and his new book, which he is holding up, you will be able to get on the 18th, but you can get his current first volume, Short Stories and Which People Fuck. It is out now on Amazon.
By the way, if you're looking for it on Amazon, you really have to put a star, F star CK. That is the official Amazon title.
Yeah. Or you could just look under Eli Casablanca. That's how I find you when I just
That's
put
true.
your name in.
That's true. And the Kindle version of Short Stories in Which People Fuck Volume 2 is already up for pre-orders.
Yes.
It's a smooth $9.99.
How much is it? $9.99.
It's $9.99,
which is a great deal for all
of
the stories.
For like it again, it's like a 400-page anthology.
Well worth it.
So,
yeah,
and then
deal.
the paperback on the 18th is going to be, I believe, $15.99, and the hardcover is going to be $24.99. And by the way, I'm making very little money off of these. That's just the price of printing it through Amazon.
Those are fantastic prices.
Those are great prices.
It will be worth it. It will look great on your bookshelf. I promise you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to get the other one because I already have you on my bookshelf, always displaying.
I see. It makes me
you're
so
always
happy.
in my background. So
it makes me. I'm honored that
I'll have to have the next one up there too.
Thank you.
All right. Well, don't forget to subscribe and follow us online. You can find our social media profiles under Crush Pub and Crush Publications, and our website, crushpublications.com. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on Crushcast.
Be sure to follow us so you can catch our next episode in 2 weeks.
Thanks to our sponsor this week and to all of you for listening.
Peace, love, and crush on.